Welcome back guys. In this video we are going to see how to handle errors. Okay, for this purpose I'm going to create a new task. Okay, so here we can see two options: error handling. So in the error handling we have two commands. One is begin error handling and second one is end error handling. Okay, let me drag begin error handling. Okay, so here it has a few options. Okay, so before talking about these options, let's understand why we need a error handling. Okay, the first and foremost thing is like you might be looking for a single file in your system. Okay, a specific file, and if the file is not present, you might want to fail the test. Okay, in such cases you don't have to handle the error. Okay, but in the same test, if you have other verifications, okay, in such cases you might need to verify the other checkpoints. Okay, for this purpose you need to suppress the error, even though you know that some file is missing and you want to fail the total test, but you don't want it to fail it immediately. You want to fail it after verification of all the things. Okay, in such cases error handling will be very helpful, because when we use the error handling, it will suppress that particular error and it can decide like whether to continue or not to continue the task. So the control is given to you whether the board should continue or not. Okay, so because of this, error handling becomes very important, not only in Automation Anywhere, but it is throughout the programming languages, throughout the tools. Okay, for example, let's take a small day-to-day life example. Okay, now you want to visit city. Okay, so this is what your aim is, but while going through the city you are seeing potholes in the road. Okay, or you have see that bridge has collapsed, so you cannot cross the bridge. Okay, so if you don't cross the bridge you cannot reach the city. Okay, in such cases you will be having a alternate route to reach the city. Okay, so to perform this alternate route we have to use this error handling. So error handling is something that you might think this can give you an error, or you might suspect some code may fail. Okay, in such cases you will be introducing error handling. If that fails, you wanted to perform some task, okay, to overcome that particular error. For example, now the bridge is broken. Now the first way is finding the alternate route to the city. The second way could be the bridge could be small, so you can jump and reach the city. Third step, you build the bridge and then go to the city. And the last one, you don't care about the bridge. Okay, just stay there by stopping there itself. Don't go to the city. So these are the options. But when you do not want to handle it, you can leave as it is. But if you want to perform some operations, okay, then you have to perform this error handling. For more importantly, for example, if you are connecting to the database and while connecting and while doing something you are receiving some error. Okay, now obviously you want to close the database connections, because you cannot keep on opening the database connections and keep it open. Okay, so if you keep it open for long times, then what happens is the performance of the database will reduce. Okay, so if somebody else wants to make a connection, then it will take a time, or sometimes it will have the limited number of connections only. If you keep on opening, then if it gets filled, nobody else will be able to connect to the database. So such kind of cases will happen. So here with the error handling, you can perform some task even when error happens. So, and one more thing is user will be having a control what to perform when an error occurs. Okay, so this is why error handling becomes important with respect to any tools, especially with automation tools. Okay, so in Automation Anywhere we have two options only: begin error handling and end error handling. Okay, there are, I mean, like, more than positive, there are so many negatives with error handling with respect to Automation Anywhere, because I've been working in automation almost for 8 years and I have seen very better error handling mechanisms. But when we compare the other error handling mechanism with the Automation Anywhere is still a kid. Okay, that's what I felt. Okay, so as of now, let's say begin error handling and continue. Okay, we are not choosing anything, I'm leaving as it is. Okay, so here you are thinking that I'm going to handle the error. Okay, so this error handling should cover the code that might throw an error. Okay, so it is not before this error handling. Inside the error handling block, you have to write the code which may throw an error. For example, I want to open a file, okay, but which is not present in my system, operating system. Okay, so I am searching for browse, and here I am selecting data. Okay, so the data.csv file is present. Now I am going to edit this data.csv file into some other thing. Okay, now I have entered some invalid some letters, which means that there is no such file like this one. Okay, so data.csv was there, but data-vui aivdv, this kind of file is not present in my operating system. So which means that it is going to throw an error. Okay, so I'm sure now. Let's save this file, like say the error handle. Okay, now I'm saving, but before that let me comment this error handling mechanism, so that you will get to know it, what happens when I just try to open this file. Okay, I'm running the code, but first 3 lines are commented. Okay, I hope you can see that. So it says that unable to open the file as the source file, whatever the place, the data -vuiaivdv, that file does not exist. File does not exist. Okay, which happens in the line number 4. Now press OK. So now what you can do is, now pull it inside. Okay, now uncomment all of it. Basically enable all the things. Okay, now you can comment this, you can remove the comment or you can keep it. So here we have open file. Okay, now if I run it, now we are trying to handle the error. Okay, but we have not configured in a very well mannered, but just basically we are trying to handle. Okay, now let's run. Let's see what happens. Okay, no pop-up came in, but this thing is fail. Okay, that is for sure. But no pop-up you got, but this is fail. So you did not get any alert because we have suppressed it. So now let me open it. Now here we have different tasks. So here we have selected begin error handling. So this is the beginning code. So that's why. And continue. Continue means, for example, let's say, let me print a message box, or let me bring a message box here at the end. Okay, say that failure. Now I have saved it. Now if I run it, let's see what happens first. First it will execute the error handling block. After that it will come to the 5th line. See, failure. Okay, for example, if I comment all these lines, and if I have only 2 lines, one is opening the file and the second one is I am trying to perform something here, some useful. So I want to perform some useful task here. Okay, now if I run it, let's see what happens. Okay, it started. It's saying that it throw a pop-up, which is that a file is not present, and press OK. Okay, now it stopped. But in case if it is inside the error handling, okay, so this time it did not come to this message box itself. Okay, but when this error throwing block is inside the error handling code, then if we run it, it will get the error, but still it will show the message 5th line. Okay, because when we are not having the error handling, it just stops there when the failure occurs. But when we are inside the error handling, it will not stop the execution. But here we have the option to stop the task or the bot. Okay, and if I say that stop task, then if I run it, the same code, what happens is, like, after the 4th line it will stop. It will not come to the 5th line. See, this time you did not get any pop-up. But when it was with continue, okay, so it will continue even after the error block, I mean like end error handling, right? After that block also it will continue. So again I am saying with continue, so now it will go to the 5th line as well, and it will keep on executing other things. Okay, see, here you got the useful task. So now this is fine. Now sometimes what you might need to do is, sometimes you might need to take a screenshot of the failure. Okay, in such cases you can enable the take snapshot. Okay, and then you can provide a path where you want to store it. For example, let's say I want to store something like error screenshot. This is what I want to save, okay, as a PNG or whatever. Okay, now we have given the path as well. Now save. Now if I run it, it will take the screenshot. Run. So it will take the screenshot of a particular application or a particular thing that is present in the snapshot. Okay, now it says useful task. Okay, I am pressing OK. Okay, but I'll tell you one thing. Now while executing, we have received the pop-up. If you have seen it, we have received the pop-up and then it's gone. Let me re-execute it. Okay, so before that, let me delete the screenshot that we got. So let me delete error screenshot, because I want to showcase that when you are handling the error using a screenshot, okay, normally it will throw the pop-up and it will capture that and then it will go away, basically the pop-up. Okay, just it will be in a minute, I mean in milliseconds it will go away. See, the pop-up came in, it went, now the useful task came in. Now if you open the folder and check for the screenshot, you will see the screenshot of the error as well. Okay, so let me bring it into a Chrome itself, because Chrome is a bit favorite. Okay, here you can see the screenshot. Okay, here you can see the pop-up, but this particular pop-up came in only when you enabled take a screenshot. If you don't enable it, it will not take a screenshot. For example, I'm not going to take the screenshot and I'm going to just save and run. If you can just have little, just govern it, you will not get that particular pop-up. Okay, only you got this useful task pop-up. Okay, but when you are using the screenshots, then it will throw the pop-up, then it will take the screenshot and then it will go away. Okay, so this is the first option when error happens. The second thing, okay, so along, not only with continue, with the stop task also you can perform all this stuff. Okay, now the second one is run task. The run task is, you might have already have some kind of a task. For example, let's say let me create one more new, and here I'm not going to do anything, just I'm going to bring a message box saying that this is a task. Okay, let's name it as dummy. When I run it, what happens is it will just show that, it will show in pop-up, this is a task. Fine, this is what the purpose said, but you can have multiple this kind of task, and you can have a different kind of comments in this task. Okay, now in the error handling, when you open the run task, here if you select run task, it will ask you for the file which you want to run. Here the task means whatever the bots that you have created, all the tasks that you have created. Okay, so here we have a dummy. So with this dummy we are going to run with, basically this, we are going to run this particular dummy. Okay, and there also we will get a pop-up message normally saying that this is the task. Okay, now if I save and run it, it says this is a task because this is from the dummy. Okay, and then it says useful task, this is from here. Okay, so similarly you can write a task with multiple steps or multiple things. So the next option is log data to file. If you want to what do you call that, if you want to put your content into a file, then you can use this log file. Okay, for this purpose what I'm going to do is, in the shareable data itself, I'm going to create a new text file. Okay, so here I have new text file, which is nothing but, let's say, log. Okay, it could be any name, but as of moment I'm saving it as a log. Okay, so here it is there. sorry, I have created a document rather than a text file. So bad. New text document. Okay, okay, so here you can see the log file that we have created, and what text you want to enter. First I want to enter the timestamp, and then I want to append the log file. If the file already exists, I don't want to remove the content of the file, but just I want to append it. Okay, so here I'm going to say got the error. Okay, for example, now I am saving as got the error. Now if I save and run the task, what happens is it will go to the, basically it will, once the error comes in, that particular, that particular task will execute if we have created a task, but this time we are trying to log into a file. So the last message came in. Now if you check the file, okay, the log file, you will have the time and the message that we have printed. Okay, now let's go back and edit the content again. Okay, so this way you can do it. And the next one is send email. But before send email, there could be something, right? Something like you got the error, but you want to print that error into the log file. How do you do it? Okay, now here we are saying that timestamp and we are appending the log into the file, but we have not actually got that exact error that we have received. So how to do it? So for that purpose, what you have to do is press F2, because the error message will be stored in the variable, and the variable called error description. Okay, so it says that error description. Now if I save it, let's see what happens. Okay, the pop-up comes, and let's go to the log file. Okay, here you can see that unable to file the file and that particular error itself. You got the error. Okay, this way you can make, okay, now let's save it. This way you can get the error messages as well. Okay, in case now you got the error message, but sometimes you might also need to know the which line of the code is causing this error, right? So for that you can write, you can press again F2 and go to error description. Below the error description you can find error line number, insert it and save the file. I mean, you can put some delimiter using a space or comma or hyphen. Now save the task and run the task, and if you see it, this time it useful task came in. But now let's check the log. See, sorry, here. So here we have the timestamp, and then we have the line number, and then we have the error message. If you see line number 3, so line number 3 caused the error message. Okay, so this is how you can insert the error line number and error message as well. Okay, so if you see anything else is present, so no other error related things are present here. Okay, you can use those two. Okay, now let's going to the send email. When you want to send an email, you have to put email from email, sorry, to email address and from email address. Okay, and then you can put the subject, and if you want to add a snapshot, you can add it. Okay, here it is taking and it can send it. Okay, so see, when I select attach snapshot, automatically it will be checked. Okay, now you can attach a variable also, that you got that right. Here in the subject line you can put that error line and error description. Okay, also you can perform a variable assignment. Okay, variable assignment, something like, see, now whenever error gets, I want to put some value. Okay, for example, now let's bring one variable here, prompt assignment. I want to set the value to 10. Okay, and I want to set the task to pass. Okay, that is fine, or you can put it into fail itself. no problem with that. Okay, save. Now if I run it, but instead of a message box, if I put prompt, so it should tell me value 10. Okay, so I'm going to bring this message box even to the beginning so that we will see the difference, what was the value here and what was the value here after assigning. So let me run. Okay, first it was test value here in the line number 1, and in the line number 6 the value is 10 because here we have assigned the value as 10. Okay, yes, so this is all on the handling the errors. Okay, maybe people who are new to automation, they are sufficient with this particular task, but if you have experience with other tools, other programming languages, you will have a question, where the hell I am going to catch the error and perform some task? Because here you have only few things: take a snapshot, run a task, log into a file, send email, and variable. But if I want to write on my own, how should I write the catch block? Okay, this is the question you will get, because this is the question I got. Okay, so to write a catch block, there is no explicit way in automation anywhere, but if you are bit tweak it, you will get the catch block on your own, but just you need to tweak little. Okay, you don't need to have a programming knowledge and all. But let's say I want to see in the same box here itself, in the variable assignment itself, based on the prompt value, can we perform some task using if else block? Yes or no? Right, we can perform some task. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable. Okay, let's consider the variable name as something like flag. Okay, let's consider this variable name as a flag. Okay, if a flag is true means error occurred, if flag is false means error did not occur. Or if in a simple way, if you want to do it, you can perform it other way as well. So now I'm going to set flag is false because nothing happened here. Okay, in the initializing stage, flag is false. Now if I write a if block, use the variable activity in the if block. Okay, edit, and here you are going to check whether variable is equal to something or not. So here I'm going to say flag, whether the flag is equals to true. If flag is equal to true, then we want to perform some task. Okay, so that one we are going to do it, but here we have initialized the flag as false, and here we are trying to check whether it is equal to true. So this particular, I want this particular block to execute only when the error occurs. Other than that time, I want this block to be skipped. Okay, that's why I have given the flag as false here. So if I run it here, okay, what happens is it will just cross it. It will not even worry about this flag because the flag is false. It is not equal to true, then it will go away. Okay, let me execute it. Okay, let me bring this message box to the end. Okay, here also we don't need this message box. Okay, so here I'm going to insert this flag variable. I want to see the flag value. Okay, so I'm going to say that in the beginning also a flag value. Okay, in the beginning we have a flag value, it will showcase, and here also it will showcase the flag value. Now I'm not explaining how we are doing it, I'm just explaining if we are not setting this flag anywhere, if we are not changing the value of the flag anywhere, then what happens? So that's what we are trying to see. So we are not changing anywhere here inside the error handling block. We are not touching the flag, just only one place, two places we are touching. First we are printing, and then we are in the end we are printing, and in the if block we are just trying to see whether it is equivalent to true. Okay, now let me run. Okay, first we have a false value, again also we have a false value, so nothing got executed. For example, to make it a little more easier, I am inside if block. So here if flag is equal to true, then I am inside if block should come, otherwise it will come to the here without going into the if block itself. Let's run. Okay, in the first line it's false and it came to the last. It did not worry about the if block because the flag was never equivalent to true. Okay, now you might have got the little idea. If this flag becomes true, then we can execute the line number 7 and 10, right? If the flag becomes true, then we can execute it, which is nothing but a way of handling the error. So here we are handling the error. Okay, basically we are just suppressing the error here, but in actual terms, when we say that handling an error, we should do it in a proper way. Okay, so the proper way is not present in automation anyway, so we are complementing the error block with error handling block with if block. Now let's go into the error handling block. Here I can assign a value that whenever there is an error, I want to assign the flag equal to true, which means that the error occurred. Basically we are saying that value for the flag is changed. Okay, now we wanted to execute this if block only when the error occurred, otherwise I want to skip it, right? Now let me execute it. So this time it will be false. Okay, so first pop-up false and the second pop-up comes to I am inside the if block. Okay, if I click OK, it will show that. See, I am inside the if block. If I click OK, now it will show true. Okay, because here we have changed the value. Okay, so this is nothing but your catch block. Okay, so now you might have a question, one more question. Okay, so we have a catch block. So in case if error occurs, we are performing it. Okay, in case if error occurred here in the error handling block, we are executing the if block. In case if there is no error, I want to execute a particular block. Okay, if this is your requirement, just you need to think for a moment how you will handle it. Okay, so let me reiterate the question. Now in the error block, in the line number 4, an error occurred. So whenever there is an error occurs, you want to execute some task. Similarly, whenever there is no error occurs, that time you might need to execute another task. So how will you achieve it? Any idea? No? Okay, now let me tell you that. So have you heard about if and else block? Okay, so here I can bring a else block. Okay, just above the end if. Okay, now here we have the else block, and here I want to say that I am in else block, and no error occurred in line 4. Okay, this is what I want. Okay, in case if it's error, it should say I am inside a if block and error occurred. Okay, in case if it is not inside the if block, which means that basically the error did not happen, so it should go to the else block and it will execute. So now if we are handling the error here, and if the error occurs, the if part will execute. Here if part will execute. In case if there is no error in these blocks, then else block will execute. Okay, for a moment's sake, let me save and run the task. So we got false message. Then it says I am inside the if block and error occurred. then in the finally it says true. Here the flag value is true, that's why it went to the if block. Now let me change this value. So we were having a file called data. Let me rebrowse and add the file. Okay, data. Now this file is present in my system. Now I am going to save and run. But before that, let's understand. Here we are trying to handle the error, and the error did not occur because the file is present. Now what I am expecting is, I want this else block to be executed, saying that else block and no error occurred in line number 4. This is what my expectation is. First it will be false. Yes, false message we got, and it opened the file, CSV file, that is fine, and it says that else block no error occurred in line number 4, and finally still it is a false, so there was no value change. So based on this one, you might have got it that whenever there is an error, we can handle it. Okay, basically we can directly, we cannot handle it, we can try to suppress that particular error using automation anywhere, and then you can handle the error using the if and else block. Okay, so this is all with error handling, but there is one more curious case. So you might have a question, do we need to use the flag variable here? Do we need to? I would say no need. Okay, you can use the variable which will hold the error message. So here we will have an error description. As I explained earlier, whenever there is an error description, okay, so if it is empty, we can, what we can say is, we can do the else block, otherwise we can execute the if block. So now here there will be no error, so let's change the if condition. Here it is no more flag, it is error description. Okay, error description, if this is equal to, I mean, let's not have equal, let's include not equal to true, or say that whenever it is not equivalent to empty, because in the beginning we do not have any error description. Okay, it will be empty. So here we are trying to compare, if the error description is not equal to empty, which means that there is an error. Okay, so here we are saying that if it is not equivalent to empty, then execute the if block, otherwise execute the else block. Okay, in the end also we can change it into error, sorry, F2, and search for error. Okay, I hope you understood it, but let me re-explain. So in the beginning there is no error, so which means that the error description is empty. Okay, so when we are performing this task, here we are trying to handle the error and we are trying to open the file. If the file is present, okay, there will be no error, and if the file is not present, there will be error, and here the exception will happen, and error description will get some value based on the what error is occurring, right? So now it is no more empty whenever there is an error here. Okay, but in case if there is no error, then error description still will be empty. If there is an error, the error description changes to the description of the error, otherwise the error description is going to be empty as it is. Okay, now we are coming to the if block. Here we are trying to see whether error description is not equivalent to empty. If, okay, so when we say not equivalent to empty means if there is some text, any kind of text, okay, which means that some error text came in, then I want to execute the if block, basically nothing but catch block. Okay, in case if it is just empty, then I want to go with else block, because whenever the error description is empty, which means that there is no error. Okay, so previously we have used with a flag, this time we are using with error description. Let's run this task. First we have a empty, we got this CSV file got opened, and it says that error block, no error occurred on line number 4. press OK, and again at the end it's empty. Okay, so this was the scenario for if there is a file and we did not get error. Now let's change the values. Say some file name which is not present here in my system. Okay, now if I save and run the task, first it will be empty description. Okay, now if I press OK, it will try to open the file, okay, here, but that file is not present. So what happens is it will set the description to here. Okay, now it comes to the if block, and in the if block we have I am inside if block and error occurred. You can see that error. And in the else block you can see that else block no error occurred, but this did not got execute because we had an error. So if I press OK, it will come to the end. It says that for this message box, it says that unable to open file as the source file that file does not exist. The file does not exist. Okay, so this is the way you can perform if and else block along with error handling. So which means that when you use the if and else block along with the error handling, you will get the proper error handling mechanism as just like in other programming languages. Okay, so there will be one more question. If you are working for so long with the programming languages, you might get one more question. Okay, the question is, when we are writing in other programming languages, we can catch the errors based on their category. Okay, sometimes you might see few of these errors. You might have seen that no such element, or you can say null pointer exception, conversion exceptions, class cast exceptions. Different kind of exception are basically error types you might have received. So based on that you will perform some task. So how to achieve that particular thing here? I hope you got that point and you might have understood already. Using this if block, okay, here we got the error description, right? So based on this error description, you can make that multiple catches. Okay, nothing but multiple if else blocks, else if blocks. Okay, so using that one you can perform the task based on your error description. Okay, so this is all with regards to error handling in Automation Anywhere. We will see in next video. Thank you.